Shoulder manipulation concept. So if someone's arm is straight, they have full mobility with their shoulder here, they can swing it like a big circle forward and a big circle back, right? If they bend their arm a little bit, they're not going to be able to swing it as much. You start feeling a little tightness around here, especially back here. And as you do that and your arm is continuing to bend, you're going to feel a lot of tightness on your shoulder this way. So if someone's trying to put their hands on you or attacking you, you're trying to create that bend in the elbow first, so that you can start locking up the shoulder. So let's say, for instance, Gabe grabs me behind the neck here, and he's pulling me around like this. Perfect. When he does this here, he's actually bending the arm himself, because if he straightens out his arm like this and tries to pull me, he doesn't have a lot of strength to pull. I can kind of lean back and use my neck muscles to kind of prevent that. But most people, they're going to bend their arm, and they're going to try to pull my head down like that. Perfect. So it's going to be hard for me to try and manipulate the elbow or anything like that, so I'm going to try my best to manipulate the shoulder somehow. So one thing I can do is my hand on the same side that's behind my neck, I can grab onto his neck, or I can kind of do like a round block or an inside block here, and I'm going to start putting my forearm on the outside of his arm here and twisting this elbow up towards the ceiling like that. So when I do that, he starts feeling a tightness in the shoulder here. And naturally people are going to try to get away from that tightness, meaning that he's going to start walking this way when I do that. That kind of steers him, right? So I'm going to put my forearm on the outside here, and I'm actually going to lean my body and rotate so that it kind of forces my body weight to make him take a step here. Boom. Now one thing, let's rotate on this side. One thing I can do is have some counter pressure with my neck here. So as I'm pushing this way, my head is leaning this way, so that essentially I'm creating this little image with his arm here, right? So I'm pushing this wrist this way, I'm pulling this way with my hands, but I can do that in this scenario here by putting my forearm against the outside of his arm here, pushing my head this way, and it's still gonna make him turn and walk towards the wall here. So that's one way to manipulate the arm. So another way that you can do that, let's say he grabs onto here, I can make a little J stroke. So what I mean is like a letter J in the alphabet. I'm gonna put my hand like this, like an L, and I'm gonna put it on top of his elbow like this. Now I really want to figure out a way to push this down and make it round this way. Notice how again it creates that locking of the shoulder because I'm bending the elbow. So one thing you can do is I can anchor this hand to my chest so that he doesn't let go. Another way I can anchor is by stepping in, and notice how when I do step in, his arm starts bending. At the same time I'm doing this, I'm pushing down on that elbow. So my cross arm anchors, my same side arm makes the L with my thumb, and I'm pushing the elbow down to create the bend, and I'm using my body weight to rotate and twist so that we're again creating that image so that I can lock his shoulder. So I'm going this. So let's rotate and show that on this side. So he's grabbing onto this, boom. I lock this in place. I could step in a little bit, and I'm going to here. Now, of course, this is just like a scenario thing where he grabs here. You're not too worried about that arm, but if you do have to worry about that arm, let's say he pulls this and starts punching with that one. I can go here. I could block the first one. My hand preemptively is already cupping here, right? I just need a mechanism to make the bend happen. So if he grabs here and starts punching, I could block here. This hand's already up as well, and this crunches down, and I start turning him this way. Notice how I'm reinforcing his grip with my own grip after I make that J stroke with my left hand. The reasoning is most people, when they try to recover from that shoulder lock, they're just gonna let go. So I do this, he's gonna let go. Now he's free, and he's free to attack me, right? So every time someone grabs you on their terms, you don't let them ungrab, right? You don't let them release. So he throws a punch here, I block, boom, this one goes down, and as I'm steering him, this one locks him this way. That way his chest is opening up here, and I can take him this way, or if I feel resistance and he starts pushing back, I can let go and I can actually take his wrist all the way to the mat. So that's another thing we can start doing, right? So if I grab onto the wrist here, just like his hands are up and I just grab it like that, right? I can create that same shoulder lock here by reinforcing my hand with my other hand and just stepping forward and taking his wrist all the way behind him this way. And that happens kind of like within a clinch or within a fight. Let's say For example, he throws a punch here and I block it this way. He throws the other punch and I block it here. I'm already preempting this grab here so that when I block this and maybe I shove that, I can start going 2-on-1 here, step through, even stepping behind him so I can take him down. Another way, if he grabs my shirt here and instead of going over the top to go for this one, I'm actually going to block and I'm gonna go underneath. So my hand here, my outside hand, the one that previously was doing that L shape, I'm actually gonna use that to anchor the wrist here. So I can grab that viciously or I can just do a slight anchor here, kind of just anchoring my wrist to his hand. And again, he throws a punch here, I'm still blocking like that. From there I can go underneath and I'm actually grabbing both of my fingers here kind of on the meat of his elbow, and that allows me to actually pull that and create that J step here. And I'm creating that letter J again, pulling down and pulling up. As I do that, I'm using my body to step in, so everything from here, step, I go this way, and that's gonna force him to step forward. Let's rotate it, let's do that again. So it's grabbing here, first things first, boom, and I get to here. This goes underneath, and I'm stepping to the outside to create this bend in his arm. If I just stay here and try to do that, he can still fight it, but I wanna use my entire body weight to step, and that creates the bend, right? A combination you could do off of this is to go for that underneath J to reinforce the over the top one. So he does this here, I block the first one, boom, I go underneath, and that passes it to this one here. So you're kind of starting the momentum here, and then I go all the way through from here. Now, as I get to there, I can also start pointing the elbow up towards the ceiling, right? So this causes a reaction, and then if I extend my forearm to this position, I can actually literally point my arm straight up. So this is gonna make him kind of get up onto his toes here, right? And kind of lock out his shoulder a little more. Cool, what else? Over the top. So another option you guys can think about this one is anchoring on the same side. Now this elbow goes over the top here. Again, this looks a little fancy, but it kind of makes sense in a practical situation. He throws a punch here, boom, this goes over the top here. Now look, my arm bends down as I squat my knees here. That makes the bend in the elbow, and my arm brings back. So essentially I'm going like this and pulling my elbow straight back. And you guys can see he throws a punch here. You can see how that can start bending the arm and starting him to lift up. From here, it's easy to just either let go of your anchor to get your arm drag and stuff and take the back. Or if you want to be mean about it, you can take him straight down from here. From here, you just start grabbing onto the leg here, and it's gonna take him to the mat that way too. Cool, so that was neck, here, 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 wrist lock. One last way in this video to think about manipulating that shoulder. Let's say he throws a punch, and actually go for my outside wrist lock takedown, right? So I can actually, instead of going 2-on-1 and stepping to his outside, I'm gonna go just with my outside hand capture, and I'm gonna step to his inside. So I'm actually going to essentially make a spin in a circle. I'm going this way, and that's gonna force him to kind of essentially do a roll or fall onto his back, right? So I'm going, throws a punch, I go here, and what if he throws a punch to that one, I check on the inside, and this one flips out. So I go here, all the way out. Now you guys can imagine if I go for the elbow manipulation right here for all these, to manipulate his shoulder, a stronger guy, let's say he doesn't want this to happen and flares his elbow up, I'm gonna lose that grip, right? So you wanna think, if you wanna manipulate a stronger guy, you do wanna go for smaller joints. That's why I can go for this elbow one here, but I'm actually helping to reinforce my wrist, the wrist lock. So the thumb here is pushed kind of like between his middle knuckle and his ring finger knuckle, and that's gonna allow my other fingers here right at the meat of the thumb to start twisting out like this. So the more I'm able to twist his hand outward, the more I'm able to manipulate the shoulder here. Notice how his entire upper body starts turning. If I just try to push down like this, it does work, but it's actually gonna make him kind of bend and squat down here. See how me trying to make his fingers touch his elbow here makes him squat down, whereas me trying to make his pinky go back there, it's gonna make him lean to the side. And then either way, your goal is to figure out a way to kind of create that shoulder lock, right? So I can do that, throws a punch again, boom, he punches the other, I come on the inside. And a lot of people might let go of this because there's opportunities here, but if I just pretend like I'm gonna step behind him and then flare this pinky out, it's gonna make him switch roles and make him do a roll here. So we'll do it on this side. He throws a punch, boom, and he blows this one here. I slip. As I'm slipping, my hand's going like this at the same time, just like we do in our katas, right? So I punch here, this goes here, and as I slip this punch, this one's flipping up the wrist here. Now all I have to do is take a big step behind him with my back foot. That's gonna take him all the way to the ground.